And good evening, everybody. Welcome to an all-new episode of Holotheatre. As always, I am Dan Tartaglione, also known as D-Tar Tag 1. Joining me tonight, I believe he's still out in California, your 2024 Jawa Cup champion, Mr. Conor Britton. How you doing today, Conor?
I'm good, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So, did just announce it that you are the current champion of the Jawa Cup. You're the third champion so far. Uh, So big congratulations on that. You had one heck of a run in the top eight. I think you were the number one seed overall. So you definitely put on a show for everybody. So, but
Thank you.
definitely we're going to get to that in a little bit. Right now, I just want to get into the news, talk about what's going on because you did well in the Jawa Cup and you're doing well in something else as well. Uh, So, really quick, let's go ahead and talk about the what's going on in Star Wars CCG right now. The first big thing is we're in the top 16 of the Gem PC. Uh, Connor, I believe today you upset, or I won't say it was an upset, but you took down Coon in a
Oh yeah. hmm
like some. I know you played Rescue the Princess V for your light side. What'd you play for dark side? I didn't have a chance to watch that one.
I played AOBS.
Okay.
Agent of-
Uh, Last time I checked, I hear that was a good deck. So
Yeah, that's what people tell me. I played the best I can, but it's not always the easiest deck to pilot. So
no, it's not. It is not. Now you have the. I don't know. I want to say honor, but I don't feel like it's an honor to play off against Joe Olson, our number one seed. How do you feel about going into that?
yeah, like you said, it's like out of the frying pan into the fire. It's somewhat accomplished in this game, and um, definitely will have my work cut out for me for that game.
hmm
Now, Joe's just it's funny because you go up and you never really know what to expect from a deck. What your opponent's going to play, and you try and
Yeah.
guess what you try and plan and account for the different things they might throw at you. Um, Joe's really hard in that he can just pick up any deck and play any deck and play it, as best as it can be played. He's not going to
Yeah.
make mistakes. He's not going to.
As someone who lost to Joe in this event, I can 100% testify to that. Like I was thinking he was going to play Agents of Black Sun the entire time. He threw Shadow Collective at me and just completely derailed me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just again, there's not a deck he won't be able to pilot well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll just see how it goes. I'm not for my game against Cohen. I lost the first game by 6 cards, and then had to come up with something that might
Mm-hmm.
catch him off guard a little bit enough to make up that 6 card difference. And I know RTPV pretty much inside and out at this point, so I
Mm-hmm.
just went with it with some techie calls, and it worked out. But um, with Joe, I don't think that there's no like catching him off guard. He's gonna be
No,
ready.
no. I thought I could try, have a chance. Uh, my teammate Batmouse Anthony Howard was like, "Well, why don't you just play speeders? Like that's a somewhat good deck. You can try and retrieve a bunch of cards with it." And I lost by 25.
Yeah, it's an interesting deck for sure. Not one that I've got any knowledge about, but
Same.
I see other people playing it really well, and it seems like wow, this thing is fast and strong and just
Yeah.
the 2+ everywhere. It can get crazy, um, but yeah, you never really know. It's a lot of this stuff is so matchup dependent, and
Mm-hmm.
for me,
100%.
when I was thinking about what to play, you don't want to ever like play something that you'll just fold to. If your opponent's playing a certain deck, and
Mm-hmm.
RTB can be like that against certain decks like HD and stuff like that's a really hard deck. But sometimes it's worth the gamble, but other times you just got to play something solid. So I have a
Yeah.
feeling I'll just be doing that's gonna be my approach to Joe is don't try and get too tricky. Just play something solid and um,
Play what you know.
you know, hopefully he's listening so I can play something tricky and catch him off guard.
I don't think Joe is in the chat. I know Batmouse is in the chat. I mean, it would be kind of funny just to see that Joe pops in. But,
But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, looking forward to the game. It'll be a tough one for sure.
okay, sweet. Yeah, so looking back at the bracket really quick, again, you're playing Joe Olson and to advance to the top 8. Matt Harrison Trainer will be playing against Cal Aldred. Again, these are all the matches to advance into the top 8. However, we have one player who's already in the top 8. Nathan Russell has been on a run, people. I don't know where it came out from. He's our number 100 seed, and he's already in the top 8.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
How many people had him? Like, I'm sorry. This is no offense to Nathan. This is no, like, I'm astonished, and I love seeing it. Like, and now he has to go play against either Greg Shaw or Timo Dussel. So
Okay, Bid Fortuna, Nathan Russell. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I played that guy a bunch at night on my, I'm on West Coast time, so not a ton of people on, but he is consistently a really tough opponent. So I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. A
yeah.
little shocked to see, Silver Glen go down, but I don't know the details of that game. But
Um, and just to look back at some of the peoples that he had to face to get to this point has been, again, it's just been one heck of a ride. So he ended up taking down Chris Goglin,
Yep.
who has won the Gem PC before. He took
that's
down
right.
Garrett Larson in a team battle.
Mm-hmm.
And Garrett's no pushover for people who think that he is.
Nope.
Then he goes and plays against Martin Den Boef, who actually upset Cedric Vanderhagen, the number 4 seed.
Oh wow.
And just most recently in the top 16, he takes down Justin Branch, who is one of the best European players we have in the community. So,
I even feel like at 13 he was probably a little underseeded. So that's a legit win right there.
Mm-hmm. And so I do believe that you were part of the seating committee. Like,
Yep.
like, was it a challenge to come up with the seating for this event?
Challenge, yes, for sure. It's always a challenge to have to, rank any number of players against each other, especially once you get out of the obvious, the obvious top 8 and things like that. And even then, there was a lot of maneuvering of who was in the top 4 versus top 8 versus top 16, even up until the last hour before the brackets were announced. I feel like everything landed pretty well. Definitely some underseedings, like when you get later, like towards the 100. I mean, I think Nathan Russell is probably not going to be 100 again, but as someone who's probably, I think, maybe new to the scene in the sense of like the last 6 months, has really, made a presence. He might have been there before. I don't know. I just remember that's when I remember seeing him. He might have just been a little unknown, and so got underseeded a bit.
I feel like a lot of people got underseeded.
No, I think for the most part the scenes were pretty good. And then but then, like everyone who was on the selection committee after like 120 are just like, some of these people I don't even know who they are. So it's a wild west after that.
That's fair.
But yeah, overall it was definitely fun being a part of the selection committee, just to get to discuss this stuff with everybody. Yeah, I mean, when I first joined this community 6 years ago, I didn't really know anybody, and so it was really fun, for me to do this and actually be able to say, hey, I actually feel like I know 90% of these guys, and maybe not 90, but like 75% of these guys, and can at least give like somewhat of an accurate depiction of where they should be. So it was fun.
So again, finishing out the top 16, Mikey Kessling will face off against his teammate and good friend Bill Kafer. Brian Fred again will be facing off against teammate and good friend Sam Tashima. Daniel Moore will face off against Charlie Arlinson. And then our last one is Mike Pistone, who took down the Sheriff of Gemp himself, Anthony Michael Howard,
Oh, wow.
to face off against Logan Peteague in to face into advance to the top 8. And so going forward, like I know you're gonna pick yourself. Who do you like advancing to the top 8?
All right, let's just go down the bracket. So MHT versus Cal. I mean, no disrespect to Cal. He's his play has been really impressive the last 6 months especially. So that'll be a great game. Hard to pick against MHT though. Just like a surgeon at the game and just really technically sound. Shaw versus Timo. Wow, I got to pick my teammate Timo, represent Team Moneyball there, our newest addition. I mean, Greg is obviously a world-class player. So Timo just actually is coming off of a loss to Gregory Shaw the Ryder Cup. So I think Timo has a lot to motivate himself there. But I'll pick Timo. I don't think there's a better as far as like technical players go, I think Timo is just one of the best. Really have been enjoying talking to him more and getting to know his approach to the game since he's become a money baller. Kessling versus Kafer, Taco Bill. I mean, Kessling's on a great run as well. Hard to pick against him. Fred versus Santoshima. Oh my gosh, so much new allies on new allies.
Right? Like there's too many new allies at this point.
It's hard for them not to run into each other. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Sam. I mean, no offense to Fred, but Sam again. Talk about a player who's just like technically there. So hard to beat. I'm gonna give that to Sam. And then Heisenberg versus. Oh wow, that's gonna be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna be really fun.
Man, I mean, Charlie's so good, but Heisenberg is like, especially the Gemp factor. He's really good, man. I'll give it to Charlie just by seeding, but that's gonna be a fun one. And then Pistone versus Logan, man, that's gonna be a good one too. I'll give it to Pistone just for the history he has. But I know, I'm picking against the Killer Bee, aren't I?
You're picking against every Killer Bee, sir.
But I mean, if Logan were to win, I'd be very happy for him.
Yeah.
He's he's shooting up there in terms of like where, him and AJ just like towards the force right now. So, yeah, I'll give it to Pistone.
And then I gotta ask, are you gonna upset Joe?
Of course I am. I mean, I will say up until like I don't know I think my first important victory, I don't know, my first big victory ever. I beat Joe in like the round, like the day one of Endor back in 2020, and then I went on to beat him in the Gemp C, or maybe was the OCS playoffs or the Gemp C? I can't remember. That was the next time we matched up. So I had a run where I was beating Joe like twice in a row, and I was like, oh man, feeling good. And then that never happened again. So
you like it's one of those things like, oh yeah, you feel good, you feel confident, and then it's just like slam.
So I'll say I know I can beat Joe.
Okay.
But I need a lot to go right. I don't know how I'm going to out-prepare Joe for this, but believe in myself.
I like that. I like the attitude. I like the positivity. I do.
So I can't wait to eat those words, but
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like once you get that game scheduled, and a lot of people are going to ask to have it streamed, so we'll have to see about getting that one on the stream channel. We're getting to the point where we're going to do. We're actually going to try and get all the games streamed. So if anybody is in the top 16, top 8, make sure you guys hit up the stream team. We'll get the game streamed. And this is definitely exciting. I definitely love them. According to Batmouse in the chat, he says Joe's going to put him in a meme for you.
Oh, that would be an honor. As far as the Star Wars memers go, it's like you and Joe, and then everybody else.
I mean, Ryan has done like some good things,
Oh my
but
gosh, sorry. How
he
can I
did
forget my
one.
own teammate, Ryan? Ryan, okay, that's the Mount Rushmore of three right there. And I don't know, someone else can
I
carve
mean, that
their.
mouse is a living meme at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Too easy.
Yeah, it's Batmouse is even saying Ryan's your teammate, so you got to support him. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going on with the rest of this Gen PC. It has been a fun ride so far. I have definitely loved it. Personally, I got to again. I like a lot of your picks. Like I think MHT over Cal, just because MHT is just like you said, he's a surgeon. He plays the game so well. Uh, I want
That's one that I can see like a matchup, just a bad matchup for
yeah.
MHT changing that on its head. Cal's not gonna like
Cal's a
yeah,
teammate of Joe's,
Cal's pretty good
so
with his decks. That,
Cal is a teammate of Joe's, so
that's
he
right.
probably has prepared a little bit.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I play Cal a lot at locals and on Gambit times. So
Yeah.
he's a good player. He could definitely take down MHT with you know with
You
a
know
good
what?
game. So
I would love to see just all upsets this round. Just all the lower seeds win.
for sure. I mean, I mean Taco Bell is I would love to see him win.
Yeah.
He's my fan favorite pick for sure. Um,
I,
man,
I, I will say Mike
game.
has had a good showing in the Gem PC. He's come in second a couple of years now. Like it'd be good to see him win, but at the same time, just think of like the jokes that we could come up with for him coming second again.
I know, man.
Mike, I hope you're not watching, man, or I hope you are watching it. But I mean, again, I love you, Mike. You're a great guy. I do want to see you do well. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to the top 8.
If Logan can upset Pistone and Heisenberg Charlie, a Logan Heisenberg matchup would be
I think
pretty
that
good.
would be a good one too. Yeah. I will say the one that I'm most interested in, honestly, like the possibilities, would probably be like the Mike versus like Sam match, or the Mike versus Brian. Like Mike versus Brian Fred would be just amazing to watch. Like
I know.
we would have to extend the timers.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be a get your popcorn and settle in situation.
Oh yeah, I would definitely be like I'm calling dibs on doing commentary for that one. So I think we talked a little bit about enough about the Gem PC. Let's move on into the OCS. Again, you've had some good records with the OCS. Right now, Tom Kelly is our number one player as he's sitting at 10-0. Timo
Nice.
sitting at 9-3. He's again no surprise to anybody. He's completely finished with the his OCS month.
Yep.
Then after that, we have Greg Shaw at 6-2. Looking on down the line, we have Casey at 5-1, Dennis at 5-0, Jared Napolitano 5-0, and then Kyle Kalin at 4-0.
Nice.
Conor.
Dennis, I have not even played a single game yet.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm 0-3.
No, your misery does not make me feel better, Dan.
Now, I will say this. In my defense, I feel like I would have had a good game against Casey earlier today, but unfortunately, my rats decided that I had enough internet time, and they decided to chew through the cord.
No way. Did they?
Yeah. So,
Are the
that's...
rats okay?
Huh?
Are the rats okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could chew through an electrical cord and
Well, it's an Ethernet cord. There's really no electricity going through it. It's all data.
That makes more sense. I was thinking the power cord. Yikes.
No, I've had them chew through power cords, and they have gotten minor shocks, and they're like, "No, we don't want this to happen anymore."
What is it about a cord that makes a rat be like,
I
got
no clue.
That's a funny one. Yeah, the OCS. I think this is the first time ever I haven't gotten a game in before like the first week of OCS. I'm usually pretty quick out the gate, but been a busy period. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get some games in.
And then right around the corner in less than a month, we have the first ever Indianapolis Eclipse event. Again, if you unfortunately, like the pre-registration runs until Tuesday, March 26th. If you pre-register, you'll get the effective demonstration foil. You'll get the holo sticker. You'll get some swag stuff. You'll get some other stuff as well. That's just for like pre-registering, and then a lot of other cool prizes as well. And then right now there are 17 players signed up. Connor, I know that you're busy, but are you going to be able to like make it? Are you going to go to any of the majors this year?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, the Indianapolis one isn't out of the question. Just have to, plan it out a little bit and see if I can make it work schedule wise. We just had we have a 3-month-old now, and
Oh,
that's kind of
congrats.
totally thanks. I mean, like scheduling wise, it's like, going from 1 to 2, and it's
Yeah.
difficult. So we'll see. But no, I definitely want to get to at least one in-person major this year.
Okay.
I mean, Euros would be. I mean, European World Championship would be the dream, but we'll see.
I know a lot of people are already talking about that one. Speaking of Euros, though, May 18th is the European Championship in Copenhagen, Denmark. If you're interested in that, hit up Tomas. Let him know that you're planning on going. And then the Tula regionals is the 19th of May. Same location in Copenhagen, Denmark. So it is a nice little Denmark super weekend. Like that. That sounds just fun to me.
It sounds like something Brian Fred's destined to attend.
I would be interested in that. It's just like, see, one of these days we're gonna have to like strap a GoPro to Brian Fred whenever he goes to an event just to get some footage.
Yep, that would be amazing. Must watch.
And then later on this year, we're gonna have a celebration honoring the Phantom Menace. This year is the 25th anniversary of Episode 1. So look out for more details for that. Maybe we'll have some pod racing, some light side, dark side Senate, light side combat, dark side combat. That would be fun.
Nice.
So definitely got some cool stuff coming out to look forward to this year. I know a lot of people are definitely interested, like I said, in going to European Worlds. A lot of people are definitely going to be. I know there's talking about a major in New Jersey in August, so make sure everybody stay tuned to that as well. But I think that's all that's really coming down the pipeline right now. So why don't we get in? Oh, excuse me. Oh.
Ireland?
A little bit. I missed nap time today. But let's talk about your Jawa Cup run. So again, first of all, congratulations on it. You went through a nice little gauntlet. You were the number 1 seed out of open play. So first of all, let's talk about that. Like how was that experience? Like you were the number 1 seed. What decks did you play, and why did you pick them?
Sure. So I mean, the first thing you do when you see what the Jawa list is, you just try and find the best deck that isn't banned. Hiko seemed to me like just a really hard deck to stop, especially when some of its harder matchups were banned. So that was always in contention. So my first game was against Blake Silkwood, who was also money.
I was going to say, I think your first game was against Kendall Hallman.
Oh, Kendall, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Oh my God, that was not. I mean, that was a game I was not happy to see Kendall be my first match. He's the guy who can just truly bring. You don't know what he's gonna bring. If he's not bringing TRM or Gungans or what is it?
Because I know he's been on like Bring It Before Me and Tig for a while.
Tig, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, so I was expecting something like that, but he also can bring something really weird to the table, which he did. He played a hidden base with arc fighters. I think it was pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I play? I think I played. Man, I'm trying to go through my GIMP history, but it doesn't go back that far. Um,
Yeah.
I think I played Thrawn,
Okay.
or it's either Thrawn or AOBS or something like that. So AOBS was the dark side, and Thrawn that I was like, those are just
Mm-hmm.
so strong. So I can't remember what I played. Might have been Thrawn. But anyway, I think I don't remember a ton from the game. It was just, I think I kind of, he had some like pieces that didn't come together for him. And, um, I think I outlasted one
Mm-hmm.
like weapon trick or something, but I ended up taking that game. My second game was against Blake, Team
Yes.
Moneyballer. I take it back. I said Timo was the most recent Team Moneyballer. Blake is the most recent Team Moneyballer. So
Oh,
shout
okay.
out. Yeah, he's a guy who actually I've gotten to meet a couple times at some events, and great dude. So anyway, at that point he wasn't on our team, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I played RTPV just because it was Jawa, and I was still just kind of messing around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he played a court, which
Oh.
it can be tough. And I squeaked through. I was kind of expecting an HDV, I think, because he had been playing that recently. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, RTPB, as bad as this matchup is against HDV, it's weirdly better for whatever reason. Probably because like the turn one Vader isn't as likely. I can't remember what the activation is. I don't think they can get Vader out turn one. Maybe they can. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
um, so anyway, I squeaked that one through. Then I played AJ.
Yes.
I played Thrawn against AJ. He played Watcher. No, sorry, I didn't play Thrawn. I played IE against AJ. At this point, I was trying to just play something different for every game. Um,
Thought about
and
certain.
it,
Yeah.
and I had actually been messing around with IE and found it to be pretty strong actually at times. And
Mm-hmm.
my team was really on the trooper build, which I messed with a little bit. And the more I messed around with it, and a lot of the ideas for the deck actually came from some games I played against Justin Desai
Okay.
when we were practicing. He was really in on ATST IE. So I was trying it out. And then I just kept futzing with the deck list. And the more I did, the more strong
Mm-hmm.
it just seemed strong. Like, one of those decks where every card, if you can get the card list right, every card is just usable and valuable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
at any time. So I really liked that, and I played it. Watch Your Step, I wasn't really prepared for actually, even though I guess AJ said he had played it earlier in the tournament. I didn't know that. And that was a good matchup. I ended up just loading up Devastator at Tatooine, and just I got like Barrick and another biker scout on there to keep attrition low and power. I think Thrawn was definitely there, and eventually Tarkin. So with Tarkin, Thrawn, and two biker scouts or a biker scout with Barrick, that's a pretty formidable package, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you're retrieving troopers and you can download them with Can't Shake on their turn. So I ended up outlasting him there. He threw the kitchen sink I mean, he had every ship. He had Outrider, Falcon, um, in Mirax's ship. And I was waiting for the other freighter to come down too, which actually that might have been too much for me, but luckily for me, he just never got it out. So I won that one. And then at that point, I think I played Gogolin.
Yes.
I He was on HDV. I played Hitco. That was a really good game. Um, the turning point was when I was able to run Luke run um, on the what's that planet called? The Sith temple sites. Anyway, I was able to run
Malachor.
Luke, yeah, Malachor, and get a little bit of a blowout battle in there, and that
Mm-hmm.
really turned the matchup on its head. But that was a tough one. And then, so at that point, I was 4-0, and just I think I ended up, yeah, my next matchup was Johnny Chu,
Yeah.
which was not a matchup I was looking forward to, because Johnny can not only play, play really well, he can play anything really well, and he
Yeah.
really is. Like the wild card factor is high with him. So I was on dark side for that game and was just planning for hidden base or um, what were some of the other things I tried to put him on, like maybe Y4O, stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
ended up playing um, um, a profit deck with the new gift,
Yep.
which makes reducing your damage, your ping damage, you can't reduce it past 3 or something like that. But anyway, I think I did have Decree even, and so that was a dead card. Um, and I played so conservatively that game. I just really played it slow and
Mm-hmm.
just really didn't want to open myself up for a beatdown. He had Nabrins. I canceled one. Um, he had a few tricks up his sleeve. I can't remember what some. Oh, he had like Jawas
Yeah.
to like take away my force, which is mitigated by the wipe effect, which is why that effect is just so darn good. So I ended up winning that one, um, and then the game six. So I was going in 5-0 into game six and played Jeremy, uh, and that was my only loss in the entire tournament. I lost to Map as no idea.
Yeah.
Uh, so um, yeah, I think I did play a different deck for every game. I'm just realizing that. That's kind of cool.
So
Um,
that's got to feel good.
well, no idea. I was like, that's my bread and butter. So I was feeling,
Yeah.
and Map is generally a good matchup for no idea, I've found. But he played it just fantastically. And it came down to the very last turn. I think I lost by 1 or 2 force. And
Yeah.
it was like one of those games where you're feeling really good, like 3/4 of the game. And then suddenly you're like, this is a little closer than I really would like. And then suddenly you are seeing their path to just out damaging you. And um,
Mm-hmm.
he did a really nice play. I thought I even had him up until the very last. I thought I had him. And then he shuttled down some guys to block a drain, which was just when I didn't have like enough force to battle and draw
Mm-hmm.
destiny or that. Even then I don't think it would have mattered because he would have out drained me. And it was just such a, just a solid but timely play. And so hats off to Jeremy for that one. I don't think I've ever beaten Jeremy, actually,
Huh.
funny enough. Yeah, I played him once at Endor, I think, and I think that was the only time I played him competitively.
I can see it. Like Jeremy's a really good player.
Yeah.
Like he's a like a good player who's definitely underrated.
Hmm.
So again, so you make the top eight. You're the number one seed. Uh, pairings come out for it, and you sit in, and I believe you have to play against AJ in the first round, correct?
Yep.
So it's your so you're again. So why did you go with Thrawn and No Idea for your top eight decks?
So you couldn't change decks, so that was a big component to it. So I wanted to just play stuff that had a really had just balanced space, balanced ground,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, no idea really does have a lot of tough matchups. So it was more just like familiarity and knowing, I know just knowing my lines against certain decks, even the bad matchups. So I went with no idea, and then Thrawn, Timo had been on our team for a couple weeks at that point and had been doing really well with Thrawn, like insanely well, and just was like preaching the gospel of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So I
Mm-hmm.
was really high on it and really liked how it played, and it was just very smooth. And again, just Timo had gotten the deck to just such a strong 60 card list where you're just every card in your hand is going to get used, and we'll have a purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
felt just like a really strong deck, and just hats off to what Timo's been able to do with it because it's by far my favorite version I've ever seen of it. So anyway, I played that, and you know, I don't think we knew. No, we didn't know who we were playing. When you choose your decks, so it was just kind of I wanted. Oh, and that was the other thing. I wanted something that for dark side, knowing I might be going against Chu at some point. and some of the other guys who were in there. I was just like, I want to have something that can beat, space stuff
Mm-hmm.
if they go that route. And so yeah, they just felt like well-rounded decks that wouldn't fold to cheesy stuff.
Yeah. So again, you're going up against AJ. Did you decide to go with light side or dark side first?
I went light side first, just because no idea is my strongest deck, and you know, a lot of times, when you are playing an event where you can change decks in between, matches, like on like normal online tournaments, I'll do dark side first just to see like what I'm up against for light side and make a pivot based on that. But because we
Mm-hmm.
couldn't change decks, I just went with my the thing I was more familiar with, and it was the two matchups I went against with AJ were the two matchups I didn't really want to see with either deck, which was for no idea it was Thrawn, and for my Thrawn it was clones. That was a matchup I hadn't really practiced a lot, and my teammate Wayne, who really knows that deck inside and out, says it can be tough for Thrawn depending on how it goes. But so anyway, with the no idea game, it really just like things, just everything broke my way that game. It was
Mm-hmm.
the best game against Thrawn I've ever played or had. It just, my opening hand was a Leia's transport and the new Jin persona, which draws on her own when Stardust is on her,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and even pings the opponent when she goes lost. So that's a really strong turn one play at times, and I think Thrawn gives you about 9 to 10 icons turn one. So I was able to put Jin down to the vault, get the transport to pull Leia, and I had a barrier in hand. So that's just kind of the ideal scenario. I mean, I was talking with Drew Lichtenstein about the approach for no idea versus Thrawn, and a lot of times going space ground turn one seems like a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you end up regretting it. But because I had the barrier and everything else, I don't know, I just went for it, even though I told myself I wasn't going to do that going into that game. Worked out. But I mean, like the drawback is usually I'm hoping to find the sand effect with
Mm-hmm.
Ray's, reserve deck pull or something like that. And I wasn't able to. So, at the jump, I was kind of like, well, maybe I really shouldn't have abandoned my game plan, but it ended up working out. I had a lot of like destiny canceling stuff, which was a cue I took from MHT's lists from the past couple events that I've seen him play
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I had no idea. So like R2 Brave Little Droid, Wedge, who's kind of a staple for the deck at this point. But then obviously Kazian does his thing.
Yeah.
So I was able to really get a strong space setup with Kazian in space. Um, R2 actually never hit the table, or at least not until late. But I survived like the first big space battle. Once Thrawn really gets its stuff in the air,
Yeah.
you can just get blown out as no idea really quickly, surprisingly quickly. Um, and I think he just drew poorly. I think I drew a blind six that broke his like attrition or something, and yeah. So I mean, really, things just kind of went well for me that game. So I won that by 16ish or so, maybe 13, and
Mm-hmm.
then going into I was just trying to preserve that lead, and um, even then, I think I made a bad play to start the game. I had thrown space like you normally do. I think I put out my 2-2 too early, so he was like spread to my 2-2 and his 2-1. So I kind of got hasty. I had some good cards like sneak attack, a six in hand, um, um, a masterful move to pull a gick if I needed. And so I just figured, try and get him to deploy his big stuff, and then maybe I can just like bounce around in a walker on ground and avoid a big battle that kicks me off ground. So I put Palpatine to the 1-1, and sure enough, he attacked into it, missed his shot with his blaster.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't get a lightsaber on Obi. Um, Missed the shot with the blaster, and then just like drew poorly after that. So I think I peeled a couple just to keep him on the ground, um, and from there I just was able to. I was never able. He was never able to kick me off ground, and just
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just got past that threshold I needed to. So
So then in the top four, I think you went up against Mr. Scotland Gorell. How was that?
Yeah. Again, one of these guys who just, can play really weird stuff really well. And I just we told each other what we were playing ahead of time. We know each other for a while. We've known each other for a while now, and at that point, decks were known to other teams, like to other
Yeah.
people. We were around one end, so there wasn't any secret there. So I was just trying to prepare against court musicians, as no idea, which is actually a very, I think Scott would probably say is one of the harder matchups for that deck, just because it cuts out Nabrin, um, just has a ton of bodies and
Mm-hmm.
weapon canceling, all the stuff no idea does, just seems to work really well against that deck in particular. So I ended up having I just ended up being able to get out to a really quick lead, and Scott eventually was just like, this is insurmountable for me, and he didn't even play game two, so
Mm-hmm.
he just conceded there. And then the last game was against
Apollyon,
Apollyon,
Jason.
Jason, yep. And he was playing the same thing AJ was, which was Thrawn and clones. So it was like a rematch of my first round, and started with no idea again.
Mm-hmm.
And that game didn't go as well as the AJ one did. That one went a little bit more typically, like the typical Thrawn setup. He got his ground set up pretty quickly, and was just pinging, damaging, getting damage through. So I was retrieving a lot through battling and trying to track
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
spies were, in a reserve deck so I could draw them for destinies, all that stuff. Luke was in space eventually. I retrieved a lot that game, ended up losing by um 3 or so. I can't, something like that.
Did you lose that game?
I think so. Actually, let me check.
I thought you won that game.
Oh yeah, I did
You
win
came
that game.
back to win that game.
Yeah, I was sure. Yeah, I was sure I was going to lose that game.
Everybody thought the same thing, and then eventually you just retrieved and retrieved and retrieved to the point where you got like 3 or 4 cards
Right.
back.
Yeah, and that was another one where a late game, like the movement phase just becomes such a huge
Yeah.
part of the late game. I was able to block his drain at Scarif eventually, and that kept me around long enough to drain him out. So yeah, that actually was like a narrow win. And then similarly, I was just looking not to give him too much of an opening against Thrawn, because Thrawn is very good at just like establishing its damage and
Mm-hmm.
getting its engine going. And I don't think there was anything really remarkable from that game. I didn't put the 2-2 out this time. I learned that lesson from the first game against AJ. And yeah, I think I was able to like keep bouncing the walkers around to prevent. I canceled the drain with Tarkin's orders, I think. And he just wasn't able to get enough damage through. But it was definitely closer.
Mm-hmm.
I should have watched the replay before I came on here. But
No, like I said, it was more like I just found it funny because like I said, sitting there doing commentary, I believe it was Garrett, and we're just like, okay, Connor's gonna lose this. It looks like it's gonna be 5, maybe 6, and then we're suddenly looking at like each other, and we're like getting the sense that you can actually win it. Granted, it's not gonna be by a lot, but the first game at least, like, and we're just sitting there watching.
yeah.
It's just like, is he gonna win this by a couple?
So the really fortunate thing for me with that game was he didn't find Vader. He had to pull Vader,
Mm-hmm.
choke Vader with Blizzard 4. And that's always nice because Vader at the vault can be really, really, really bad for me. Um, Jin helps, but it's still tough. And so I like spread to his 2-0 on Lothal, and he had to download Vader
Mm-hmm.
to like block that. And at that point, I was actually feeling pretty good because I was like, that's not an ideal play for him, and he had to do it to like stop damage and all that. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm getting him out of his rhythm at least, and this is starting to feel good. And then again, just Thrawn can rack up the damage, and especially when they're settled and on the ground.
Oh
And
yeah.
and suddenly I'm just like, just trying to calculate a way to win. And luckily, I was able to see that, if I eventually I'd just be able to block his drains and he wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the replay of the clones match. I did something weird where like I kept Thrawn at Lothal and moved Ozzel on Vengeance to Kashyyyk. And I'm wondering why I did that, honestly. I think it was to be able to shuttle up. Um, um, oh, that's why. So that was the thing. I like made some weird card choices for this deck. I played both Thrawn personas.
Yes,
Well, no,
we noticed that.
yeah, and that was because I was worried about space weapons.
Okay.
So I wanted to just have that option. And in this matchup, it actually seemed to make more sense to be able to like ping him when he moved from Lothal side to
Yeah.
Lothal side. And it was a little cheaper, so I was able to draw an extra card turn one. So that's what I did. Um, it looks like I shuttled, I like was patient on ground and just kind of drained space until I was able to get Blizzard one loaded up. I actually loaded him up with Kurgi and Vento,
Yeah.
the Eli Vento, which was I wouldn't play him again. That was a mistake.
Really?
And then, yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. There's probably a build where it makes sense. But I was playing the new interrupt that pulls him, and so I was like, well, it's
Mm,
big body and can like pull some key interrupts. But he's just kind of an awkward body. So I mean, he might have his spots, but so yeah, so it looks like I was eventually just able to spread to 3 locations, and once
mm-hmm.
Blizzard One got loaded up, he wasn't, especially when Blizzard One has veers on it at the 2/2, which adds a 1 to your defense value of the
Yeah.
AT-AT. Was defense value 10, 9 or 10 or something? It's really, unless they have sorry about the mess, it's really hard for them to get through that. So yeah, it looks like
Mm-hmm.
eventually he got Obi-Wan and Yoda together, but I was able to exclude one Yoda with because there was a 3 or a 4 on my artwork effect. Oh, and that was another thing. He stacked a weapon early on.
Yes.
Um, this is another shout out to Timo because going into that game, he was like, who knows? Maybe he'll accidentally stack a weapon and you can cancel a battle with your by pulling it off with the artwork effect. And sure enough, that's what happened. So that's why I was able to survive on the ground the first battle. He threw Yoda clones, maybe something else, and I was just able to cancel the battle. Like, nope.
So what I'm hearing is Timo knows best.
He's the Thrawn authority.
Yeah, which don't let him know that I said that.
Yeah, hopefully he's sleeping right now, so you'll have like
I
a
don't know.
day
Like it seems like
playing.
he either is the only stuff he ever does is teach, sleep, or Star Wars.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
He's a machine.
So yeah, again, just watching you play, it was definitely exciting, and again, big congratulations on it.
Thanks,
Uh,
Dan.
so I know the last time that we had you on, we talked about the fact that you're now the lead play tester of the community. You organize all the stuff and everything. So how is it? How has that been going on since the last time we talked to you?
Honestly, I've been neglecting my duties. There's like been a lot of cards that have been released to play testing, and I'm like, yeah, I'll look at these eventually. But you guys got this. But no, I've started finally getting caught up, and we'll be able to weigh in a little bit more soon.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, we're at the point in playtesting where D&D doesn't exactly know what they want in this set. So pressure will definitely turn up once that is known a little bit more clearly, because then we know exactly what to test, what to really pour our stress testing into. But no, some of the stuff coming down the pipeline is really fun. I think people will be really, really excited to see what's going to come. But yeah, I mean, we this is a good time to get on board for sure, because we're not in the thick of trying to get the release out. So
Mm-hmm.
there is time to get to kind of ramp up and get used to what playtesting is and get some games in. And so yeah, we're always looking for people who really want to have a chance to impact what gets released into the wild, because it's a really good way to have your be able to catch
Yeah.
what's working, what's not. And, it's just a good way to get back to the game.
So I how like I know that like being that you played in the Jawa Cup, you've been playing Open. What is your take on the meta, and especially with like say Jawa? Because I know, spoiler alert, everybody. Just before we let you answer this, I just want to announce that the Jawa Council is currently sitting up in their lofty council chambers,
Fan crawl.
deliberating the
They're in
current
their fan.
meta and figuring out what they want to ban and unban next. As you can see, they're sitting around talking, discussing it. For some reason, Anakin's up there. He's on the council, but he's not a Jawa.
We don't grant you the species of Jawa.
No, we don't.
You
So
know what he needs is for rug hug virtual or whatever. That would make him a Jawa.
that would, like, I think it's what the part of the tribe.
Part of the tribe, yeah. It's the rug hugs the underlying card.
Oh, I like that. That's
Oh
a good one.
no, it's got to be a non-Jedi. So as long as it's a Padawan,
Padawan, or alien Anakin that you can only play in hyperdrive.
that's right.
Yeah,
There you go.
we have three Anakins now.
Anakin, we have a path forward for you. You just have to, stunt your growth a little bit.
So yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on the meta going forward?
That's a good question. To be honest, I wasn't at the Atlanta event, which I really was bummed to miss. Just going through what was played there, I was honestly a little surprised that Anakin kind of was the light side deck to beat, it seemed. I still think the meta is in a good spot. There seems to be a decent balance. There's no, there's definitely things that people can, if they want to complain about, but I don't think that there's anything just like outright broken right now. I think it's, I planning for, I'm just trying to think if I were to prepare for Indianapolis, where I would go. And
Yeah.
it just seems like a lot of options on the table. And, you look at the top, like the day two lists from the Atlanta event. You have
Mhm.
ALES, Anakin, Tatooine CRV, Walkers, WAP, Thrawn, Y4O, QMC, Court.
Well, I mean, Scott was
No-
there, so of course it's like court. So
But I mean, that's a good. I
it's
mean,
a
that's
good.
pretty good.
There's a little balance. Yeah, there's some balance there. So yeah, actually, yeah. Let's imagine you're going to Indianapolis. What would you take?
Um, yeah, I would have to think about it, like, because you always want to, like, if you were to make day two, would you want to just play the same thing or what? I think, changing decks seems like a tough thing to do, but people do it.
Yeah.
So I would probably just want to play something that, at this point, I do think like if you have a tier 2 to 1.5 deck that you can play really well, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I think there's a good chance you can, play it well enough to move on. But yeah, I don't know. I would be looking as light side. You have to have a plan for AOBS. You have to have a plan for Thrawn, and you probably even have to have a plan for like ISB or
Shadow Collective.
some mainsy stuff like Shadow Collective. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of things that plans for. So if that's a good commentary on the meta, or a good, that's a good sign for the meta, then there you have it. And then on Dark Side, Dark Side's tough actually. I mean, like I said, you have to be prepared for all those things, but they're having a lot of options sometimes makes it hard too. So
Yeah.
I would probably, if I were going to Indianapolis, I would probably just get as good with AOBS as I possibly can, because I do think it's just a deck that can make, any number of good plays at any given time.
Mhm.
Especially if your matchups really well, you can really kind of pace yourself to and make your plays in the way that is optimal for that matchup. So AOBS is probably what I'd bring. I don't want to say no idea for light just because it's something I always play, but
There's nothing
it is
wrong with that.
it is a great deck for day one, especially because it puts a lot of cards out of play. So your loss pile is generally lower than your opponent if it does come down to ties.
Mm.
It does retrieve a lot, and now that Jin is out, I do think that's a pretty good that changes the math a lot if you can find her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no idea seems good, but it doesn't, it does have a lot. I would caution anyone who wants to bring it because it does have, I mean, Thrawn is a really tough matchup. Um, AOBS is a really tough matchup.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
again, if you can get those two, those matchups to a good place where you feel comfortable, then great. I would probably, but for light side, I feel like, yeah, probably like Hitko, Anakin Saga seem like Anakin Saga probably seems like the most straightforward,
Mm-hmm.
well-rounded one. I'm not sure how the Thrawn matchup goes, but I'm sure it's you can make a line for it. Um, yeah, probably that.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate that as somebody who's going and has not even thought about building decks yet. So,
Yeah.
uh, but I think we're at a point where we got to do our card challenge for tonight. Connor, your card. We're gonna do what's underneath the V card. I mean, you already shown that you know what some of the underlying cards are.
Some.
Some. I mean, I didn't. I couldn't. I did not remember what part of the tribe is like right away. So the fact that you were like, "Oh, rug hug V," that's part of the tribe. Yeah, that was really good. But actually, before we go into that, Bat Mouse has a question for you. He wants to know if your wife liked the barbecue sauce.
Wow, that's like a really loaded question.
I know.
I will say this though. So Bat Mouse, we had an event at Brenderlin's house. He was having a birthday slash goodbye to his house party.
Yeah.
And it was just like a big day of games, and Bat Mouse catered the whole thing as he's wont to do, and very generously does. And he brought a barbecue sauce and just like a jar. I was like, dude, where'd you get this? This is amazing. He's like, I made it. I was like, of course you did. And he's like, I sell it for $15. I was like, okay, well, there's a local event next weekend. I'll show up there, and if you bring me some, I'll buy it. And I did. And
Nice.
it was great. My wife is not a huge sauce lover, and he liked it. So
nice. Nice.
I'll put that on the label. My wife liked it.
Okay, Mr. Connor, are you ready for your card challenge?
Let's do it.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I show the card on the screen. I'll read what the card is. You'll have 45 seconds to guess what the underlying card is. After I give you the card, you'll have the option of choosing the set or the underlying type. I'll give it to you. Then your 45 seconds will start.
Oh, I gotta make sure I understand. I can name what set it's from, or the type?
I will give you the set. Like I'll give you the set or the type of the underlying card. Like for example, you mentioned part of the tribe. So I give you part of the tribe. You say I want the set. I say Hoth, and then you figure out what it's from there. Or you can say what type. I give you interrupt, and then you go from there.
Okay.
So your card tonight is K2SO. Would you like the set of the underlying card or the type of the underlying card?
You had to give me an obscure no idea card, didn't you?
Oh, of course I did.
Okay, let's do the set.
Special edition.
Okay, that narrows it down.
So hold on. Your 45 seconds starts right now. And you can think this out. You don't have I just need a final guess.
All right, you can give me the sec.
And you know what? I'll let Batmouse help you because you like the sauce. Batmouse, no cheating.
I don't know. I can't see anything from the stream, so I have no idea what Batmouse is saying.
I'll let you know. Don't worry. 20 seconds.
Maybe an operative of some kind. Maybe
K2SO is a droid.
I think he's that. What's that droid that looks like he's surfing? What is that guy? If it's like some random array of numbers and letters, I'm never gonna get this. Oh gosh.
I'll give you it if you get the first three. Timer's up. Batmouse is saying A7.
It's that I don't know what it's called, but I'm gonna stick with like the surfing like technician droid or whatever that is.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the picture and I'm going to actually put it up. He described the picture. That's got to count for something. It's going to count for something. So the card is just for just for reference. It's the ASP 707 droid. Sorry, I couldn't read it. However, let's pull up the picture and let the community figure it out. So, just for information, the droid will be on the screen.
I'm gonna look this up now.
Batmouse said I said it and allowed to help. You said A7. It's ASP 707. Batmouse is saying you win.
Oh, nice. I was at least right with the image.
Yeah, you were. You know what?
There was no way I was going to pull ASP 707, even if I knew that's what it was.
You know what, Connor? You win. Batmouse is not, because he would. I just asked for like the first three integers or letters. If you would have said ASP, Batmouse, you would have won. Connor, you win though for
Batmouse was
Surfing Droid.
giving me bad information, even. So
that wasn't bad information. But he was like, he said A and 7. I wanted 3. I specifically said 3. You at least gave me something creative, saying Surfing Droid.
Dude, that's what I think of every time I see that one.
Right,
There's some Star Wars cards where like I just can't, like, for whatever reason I see a certain thing.
Yeah.
Every time I see the card, and that's one of them. So that one stuck out visually.
Yeah, no, like the creativity is what wins it. So, and I'm all about creativity. Nice. And Batmouse is claiming credit for this, by the way.
Well, of course he is, but he's not going to get it. Oh, that was fun. Thanks, Dan.
Oh, that was a blast. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. It has been a pleasure. Connor, thank you for coming on. I'm definitely going to watch your career with great interest as you continue. Until next time, everybody, I believe on Saturday, Timo is going to be playing his retro event at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to try and stream that one, depending on what I have going on. But until then, everybody take care, enjoy yourselves, and as always, may the force be with you. Good night, everybody.